Leclerc cut an annoyed and frustrated figure as he ended his race at the Brazilian Grand Prix. He had come into the race with the mindset of at least making a dent in the points separating him from the leaders in the championship standings. However, the events of the day had put him in a bad frame as he stomped away from the racetracks. Team Ferrari had developed a strategy, and this was meant to put Leclerc in a favourable position for the end of the race. That way he could put his all into chasing down the leading teams. However, that order never came. He had to stick to his current position and see out the race in 4th place. If we were to consider this, we would wonder what the reason for this happening is. Also, why he couldn't have at least been given a fair chance to compete against Perez of Red Bull for P2. Hello everyone, welcome to our YouTube channel, the home depot for all things great content. Join us as we focus on racing and all adrenaline-pulsing events. In this episode, our point of attention would turn to what happened at the final race of the Brazilian Grand Prix. We'd try as much as possible to analyse the Leclerc situation and express his frustration with his team's order decision. Before we do that though, we'd love your support, and would love it if you subscribe to our channel. Also, turn on our notifications and like this video to support our amazing content. Now, let's dive into the nitty-gritty.
Here comes Sebastian Vettel! Through goes Hamilton! Max Verstappen wins a Formula One Grand Prix!
Winning the Grand Prix is one of the greatest achievements for any Formula One driver. This is why a whole lot of preparation and training is put into place to get a fighting chance at the crown. However, when it gets to a specific point, you as a driver know that the crown is slipping away from your reach. In that case, the best thing you can do is fight to consolidate your position among the top placements. This was the intention of the Monegasque, who was already out of reach for the crown before the flag was even waved. The race had gone on swiftly, as all team drivers set out to chart the racecourse and try to place better than their opponents. However, as the race progressed, Leclerc was involved in a collision with Lando Norris. He still managed to put himself back into the race and climbed up to as high as 4th place. The other Ferrari driver, Carlos Sainz, was already in prime position as the race went on, and was placed 3rd. For every team, this was a fair position to have drivers, which would mean you could put in a strategy to help your best placed rider forge ahead easily. Almost towards the end of the race, something happened which would have probably rattled the Monegasque. Based on the original plan, Sainz was supposed to allow him to go past and allow him to chase Perez, who was also humming for 2nd place. However, the reply Leclerc got when he radioed in and asked the team to put in the order got him frustrated. Not today, Leclerc. The race was blazing towards the last few laps, and the reply from the Ferrari team meant Sainz had to hold his position. This was an uncomfortable moment for Leclerc, who felt cheated out on what could have given him a fair fight against Perez. This was despite the earlier discussion the team had concluded before the race that would allow the Monegasque to overtake the other rider if the need arose. The confusion might have flustered an inexperienced driver, but still, he kept to his guns and finished the race in 4th place. Post-interview vent. In the post-race interview, it was obvious that he was visibly frustrated but tried to cover it up with professionalism. When he was asked what happened during the race, he had this to say: "I asked on the radio during the last few laps about switching positions. I was frustrated in the heat of the moment because we had a discussion before the race." This goes to show that Leclerc was confident that the agreement would be kept, and to have that thrown at him felt painful. When he was asked about what could have caused that change, he said, "For some reason we changed our minds, of which I do not know why." Questions about how he felt about that decision shared with us what he later concluded after the race. In his reply, he said, "It was frustrating, and I hope in Abu Dhabi will be fast enough for me to get 2nd in the championship. If not, it's like this." Was he selfish, or is there a hint of professionalism? One may begin to wonder if he wanted this for himself, because the decision would have put his teammate in 4th place. He disagreed with the question that felt he wanted that at all costs, and he answered by saying, "Carlos did an incredible job and deserves P3 and the podium because he did a great race." He also mentioned that the fact he ended in 4th place wasn't as bad as it seemed, because he had been in a collision with Norris during the race. However, he made it clear that it was a change in agreement that had him frustrated and pissed off. So we can say that his frustration was more directed at the Ferrari team rather than his teammate Carlos Sainz. What could have been Ferrari's opinion about all this? Well, before we get into that, we just wanted to remind you to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications by clicking the bell below. This gives you access to getting a swift and up-to-date release of all our new content. So, let's get back to Ferrari. Now, Ferrari understands the intentions of their top drivers, but they made us understand what Leclerc wanted had some complications. They reiterated this by saying the move was risky and would have probably jeopardized both players in the end, so the decision not to make the move was unanimously agreed upon on the side of the track, although the team agreed that they could hear Leclerc continuously asking for the change. They had to consider all other factors before letting him know that it would be risky. According to the team, Fernando Alonso and Max Verstappen were in the main straight just behind Leclerc, so a change could have resulted in them losing out completely. To conclude this episode, in our opinion, if making that decision was going to cost the team their position, then the team was right to have made that call. Sometimes it's fine to just take what you have at hand rather than risk it all for the better. Although this cost Leclerc a fight for second, at least Sainz was able to hold on to the P3 and get a chance at the podium. So, that's it guys, we have come to the end of another remarkable episode, and we appreciate you for coming along with us. We hope you enjoyed this content and we look forward to sharing more with you. To do this, you have to subscribe to our YouTube channel and tune in to our post notifications, and we'd be sure not to disappoint you. Goodbye for now, and see you soon.